I'm in the process of doing something that I've been meaning to do since my mother died. There's nothing like being the last person in the family before death, to hone the senses, if you like, to make you realise perhaps what it is that A, that it's probably your turn next, and B, what it is that you need when somebody close to you dies. And because of the sort of technologies that we have and the things that I have been doing for some years now, it made a kind of logical sense to me to not only leave wills and wishes, but also a video for each of my children. And I've been putting it off. And I don't very often put things off, mostly because I know the kind of, it feels like carrying a burden around when you don't do something that you have to do. So it's kind of out of character, but it's a really difficult thing to wrap your head around. It's definitely something I want to do, and that I think would be of benefit. But there are all sorts of potential glitches and issues surrounding it. Some of them purely practical, and others of a more emotional nature. And I'm guessing that more and more people will be doing this kind of thing as time goes on. So it's something worth exploring. So yeah, there's the practical considerations, like the fact that I don't know when it's going to happen, and so I don't know what kind of media is going to work then. Things change, don't they? Things change particularly rapidly now. So various files and formats and methods just probably won't work then. And whilst I know that, you can move things from one media to another, there are ways of doing that, just as I had an old VHS recently turned into a CD of ancient stuff from my father. It still would be preferable for the recipient not to have to go through such a palaver before they could see it. So I've been doing it on putting it in one format on a USB disc, plus doing it in sound only, just in case there's a problem with that, and because sound is more likely to carry on in similar ways, and plus making a DVD. So it's like I've put the same thing in 3 different formats, and then there's knowing how long it's going to be before it's likely to be viewed. And of course you haven't got a clue, have you? No one's got the first idea when they're going to die, unless they're actually planning killing themselves. So you're kind of trying to cover all the bases, trying to keep it general, whilst knowing that it could be anything between, tomorrow and God knows how long, years and years. And what may happen in the interim. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm lodging the originals with the solicitor who's got my will, plus I'm keeping a copy myself, so that I can update it if necessary, and also so that there's a backup copy. One thing I was talking about with somebody recently was that it would be a good idea if there was some kind of online service which sorted this for you. I'm sure there will be eventually, but I'm certainly not going to create it. Which will, store stuff, which will allow you to update stuff if necessary, and which will change it into a current format. But then on top of all that, there's also the whole idea of what you leave, and that the fact that this is going to be the last thing that your offspring or whoever will see of you in action, and also that they won't be able to question you on it because you won't be there. So it's like really important not to say something that might raise issues, that might make it more difficult for them. You know, because in a way, what you're trying to do is to ease the way. And while there's certain things that one can sort of avoid, there are other things where you really don't know what's going on inside somebody's head, or what may be going on inside their head at that time, and what they're going to need. So other than expressions of love and care and some practical bits and bats, it's kind of hard to know what to say. So yeah, very bizarre and interesting process that I'm not sure I'm entirely satisfied with what I've done, but I just don't think I'd be satisfied whatever I do. But I do know that I will carry on with my life kind of more happily once it's done, and so I can die without thinking I had something, without there being something undone. So any thoughts or input you may have on this, I would be interested in hearing, because obviously it's relevant, and I can't think of absolutely everything myself.